Davis.
Thank you, Chairman Conyers. Mr. Mueller, I didn't know that my friend from Texas was going to be the first witness to beat you up today. That's news to those of us on this side. Let me, in the time that I have, go back to something that we've obviously talked about a lot today, and it's the circumstances around the March 10th visit from the Attorney General to then White House counsel Gonzales' office to Mr. Ashcroft, then the Attorney General. And I'll preface it by saying I know you feel that we plowed over this ground a lot today. We're doing it for an obvious reason. There have been serious questions raised about whether the current Attorney General was candid and truthful in his testimony at the United States Senate. And I know that you, if you had an opinion of that, would not venture it to us, but it's important and we have some obligation to try to elicit facts around as much as we can. So in that spirit, let me try to fill in some of the gaps that some of my colleagues may have left today. What did you understand John Ashcroft's condition to be on March 10th, 2004?
He was had gone through a difficult operation and was being closely monitored in the hospital.
Had you been in touch with him in the interim between March 10th and his operation?
No. The operation preceding March 10th.
Yes, that's right.
No, I had
that's
not.
right.
I had not.
Did you understand him to be in condition to receive visitors on any serious matters?
I did not know.
Had you felt anything was pressing enough for you to get in touch with him during that time frame?
No.
Were you surprised when you received the phone call from Mr. Comey indicating that there was going to be this visit to Mr. Ashcroft by Gonzales and Cart?
It was out of the ordinary.
And was one of the reasons it was out of the ordinary because you didn't understand Mr. Ashcroft to be in condition to receive visitors on serious matters?
No. It was a request from Mr. Comey that was out of the ordinary.
What was out of the ordinary?
To be requested to come to the hospital at that particular time at early in the evening.
And I think you've testified, or there's been testimony from Mr. Comey that he asked you to have a conversation with FBI agents and to instruct them not to remove him from the room. Is that essentially accurate testimony on Mr. Comey's part?
I have no dispute with Mr. Comey
Right.
as in that regard. My own recollection is
What?
somewhat unformed.
Well, do you remember, that certainly strikes me as unusual. FBI director, a senior official, calls you and says, make sure that I'm not evicted from the room, and I'm sure that must have struck you as being an unusual request, didn't it?
Yes.
Did you take notes or memorialize your conversation with Mr. Comey at that point?
I don't know. At that point, I did not.
At some point, did you memorialize your conversations regarding this visit with Mr. Comey?
I may have. Yes.
Do you still have those notes?
Yes.
And are they available to the committee if the committee were to ask for them?
I would have to get back to you on that.
Can you think of a reason or a privilege that would prevent the committee from receiving these notes?
Deliberative, but I'd have to get back to you on that.
Well, but as we sit here, can you think of any privilege that would preclude the committee?
Deliberative.
Okay, that's your answer. Let me move forward. I think you've indicated that you did not encounter Mr. Gonzales or Mr. Cart at the hospital. Is that right?
Correct.
But you did speak with Mr. Ashcroft after the conversation that he had with Mr. Cart and Mr. Gonzales. Is that right?
I did.
Did you make any? Let the bell go off. Did you? I want you to hear me, so let the bell go off. Did you make any notes regarding your conversation with Mr. Ashcroft?
Yes.
And do you still have those notes in your
Yes.
possession? Can you think of any reason why those notes should not be disclosed to the committee?
The same response that I gave before in response to your earlier question.
Now, why, and I'm going to let that stop again, so this is an important question. Tell me why you decided to make notes of your conversation with Mr. Ashcroft.
It was out of the ordinary.
What was out of the ordinary, Ms. Mueller?
Being asked to go to the hospital and be present at that time.
Did you share those notes with anyone in the administration?
No.
Whom have you shared them with to today?
My counsel.
Counsel.
Office of General Counsel.
Okay. Is that the only individual, Office of General Counsel?
Well, there may have been persons in my immediate staff, but
Have you made any other notes or memorandum regarding the March 10th visit that you've characterized as unusual?
no.
Do you know if any notes or memorandum were made regarding the visit itself? I understand you didn't make them as you weren't there, but regarding the visit by Mr. Card and Mr. Gonzales to Mr. Ashcroft, do you know if there was any note taker present?
Do not know.
Have you attempted to inquire if there was? I'm sorry, did you finish your answer? I'm sorry.
I was going to anticipate your next question is I have not seen any such note.
Okay. And
I hate to tell the gentleman this, but with two other members and the vote on, we're now really...
if you just indulge me 10 seconds, Mr. Chairman, I would ask the committee to take note of Mr. Mueller's very candid statement to us that he does have notes regarding this very important conversation, and I would ask the Senate to certainly be aware of it, and I would certainly ask this committee and our colleagues in the Senate to make a formal inquiry to obtain those notes. Thank you for being candid, Mr. Mueller.
Thank you very much. Chair recognizes the gentleman.